Today we're diving into a topic that got alarm bells ringing, and for good reason. California is leading the pack in fraud against older adults, and there's a growing concern that this is impacting our seniors more than ever. Schoolsfirst Federal Credit Union is armed with vital info on how we can avoid these sneaky scams, especially when they're targeting our elders. Here to help us understand what's going on, we have Jonathan Wesson, their Folsom Branch Manager. Welcome back, Jonathan.
Thank you.
All right, so Jonathan, why in the world are people over 60 being hit so hard by scammers right now?
Now, that's an excellent question. Scammers will attack anyone, regardless of their age or who you are, so it's best to know this information so you can protect yourself from scams. However, when it comes to adults over the age of 60, they are big targets to scammers because they prey on their kindness and their financial assets. Typically in these situations, they use fear and urgency to con adults out of their personal information and their money when they use really creative and sophisticated tactics.
Yeah, we want to help avoid that happening. So what exactly are we talking about here? Tell us the ins and outs so we can warn those that we know.
Absolutely. So there's about 5 top scams that are used against adults. And the first one is the government or the official impersonator scam. In this scam, the scammer poses as an official from the government, say the IRS, or they'll impersonate an official from, like, say, your utility company. In both examples, when they reach out with this urgency that you have to pay this fee now, otherwise you're going to suffer a negative ramification. Next, we have the big tech scam. So in this one, they pose as like a tech representative here that they've identified that there's a virus on your computer or something along those lines, and they're here to help fix it for you, but you have to pay them a fee first. Or they'll ask you for remote access to your computer so they can fix it for you from the convenience of your home, giving up that personal information right there on the computer. Next, we have the romance scam. And this one, they're really preying on your desire for that companionship. They use sites, social media sites or dating sites in order to kind of establish that relationship. Once the relationship's established, they'll start asking for money for travel expenses or other expenses. Then you have the lottery, charity, or sweepstakes scam. And in this scam, they pose as a representative of an organization asking you to donate money to their so-called charity. Or they're notifying that you just won all this money in a sweepstakes or a lottery, but before you can receive that money, you're going to have to pay them a large fee. Right? And then lastly, there's the grandparent scam. This scam, they pose as one of your loved ones, a child or a grandchild, and they ask you for money for an unexpected expense, medical bills. I was in a car accident. I need this money right away. And they'll urge you not to tell anyone else in your family about the situation, which is a huge red flag for any scam.
And it's unfortunate that there's so many. I mean, you went through a list of them that are targeting people. You mentioned the grandparent scam. I had a friend that happened to. They had someone call their grandma, and they kind of fished and waited until she said the grandson's name, and then they played off of that. So kind of really having to be cautious, and we're talking about it now, so it's good that we're having these conversations. What is the most common way that scammers reach out to their victims?
They will stop at nothing. Any method that works, they will take advantage of. So they use the phone, they use the text message, they use email. They'll even show up at your door pretending to be someone that they're not. So it's really important for everyone to be aware of these scams and always take precautions. If something doesn't sound right, doesn't look right, don't act right away. Reach out to somebody that you know or trust.
And you pointed out they're preying on you to act right away. So making sure you do that due diligence, take a moment, take a pause, look into it. It's going to be beneficial in the long run. And we need some ground rules here. So what can we do to avoid falling into these traps in the first place?
Absolutely. So there's some steps you can take to help avoid those traps. First, never give out any of your personal information to anyone by phone, text, or email if you didn't initiate the contact, right? Never send anyone money, gift cards, or a check unless you know them personally. Or if you initiated the contact to begin with. And then never give someone else remote access to your computer or your mobile devices so they can pull that information from you. I mean, bottom line, the biggest takeaway here is to be aware of these scams. Don't fall into the trap of that sense of urgency where you have to act now. Reach out and ask questions. Disconnect the call, right? You have your bank, you have your credit union, or someone that you know or trust. We're here to help protect you and guide you through these scenarios so you don't become a victim.
Right. And sometimes, again, taking that extra step, some people don't want to do it, but if it's going to save you in the long run, make sure to do it.
Absolutely.
Jonathan, thank you for these very helpful tips.
My pleasure.
All right. And again, you can visit the Federal Trade Commission by going to consumer.ftc.gov. You can visit one of the many Schoolsfirst Federal Credit Union branch locations as seen on the screen right there. They have more than 70 branch locations. And you can find out more online by going to schoolsfirstfcu.org.